Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now last year I went to the Nürburgring 24-hour race to watch the Bulldog Racing JCW team come first in class. I returned this year to watch them come second in class. This year they were sponsored by Deus Ex Machina, the Australian motorsport-inspired clothing brand. I'm here today in Munich to take a look at these two epic minis, a collaboration between Deus Ex Machina and Mini. Now there are two cars for us to take a look at today, one based on the F66 petrol JCW and one based on the electric JCW. But the best person to help us understand the story is Dee, who was the design lead on this project. Lovely to meet you. Please tell me the story, because already just looking at them, I can tell there is one.
Yes, so we designed two cars. They are really designed as siblings, and they sort of traveled the world to meet again for a race. So both of them are custom built, but in two different shops. He is built in a motorbike shop as a motorbike enthusiast, and the other car, the electric car, is built in a surf shop, so done by a surf shop visionaire. So they're only allowed to use tools from their own shop, nothing more. Everything is hand-built, handcrafted with love.
And that kind of makes sense, because when you look at the two, the choice of materials, the design, they are very different. They've got a common thread running through. They're pretty extreme cars. Yes. We should point out, by the way, both of these cars, yes, they are concept cars. They're design concept cars, but they both work. They are based on running cars, so I could take them out for a drive later.
You could, exactly.
I don't think I'll be allowed to do that.
But you could, technically you could.
So let's just very briefly, the base of the car behind you, so the petrol car. So that's a kind of motorsport-inspired, motorsport-inspired car. And I'm going to take a walk around the details in a moment. What are your favourite elements of that, though?
I would say it's really the light pods that you see here, the front grille. I think it really celebrates this rally race elements from the past. Also the side view mirrors with the perforated stand.
I love those.
Yes.
They're so good.
Yes, and we really wanted to remember the Mini Cooper S from the past and sort of bring that to the new generation as well. Yep.
And how about the surf dude's car over there?
I would say that is really about attitude. Mini is also about attitude, being relaxed, but also competitive and determined. And their highly innovative glass fiber material was used, inspired from basically it's like building a surfboard, but as a car.
Yeah. All you need now is a Mr. Zog's sex wax sticker on the back.
That's right.
Yeah.
We thought about that.
You should have one, right?
we were thinking
every surf fan ever has a
Mr.
Zog sex wax sticker.
Yeah, we'll put that in the middle console.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look around some of the details, because there are many. And for me, I know this is a design concept, but I know Minis and the community around Minis, we love customizing our Minis.
Absolutely.
And what you guys have done here is proper next level. So let's go and take a look around these cars in more detail. So let's start off with this. Based on an F66 JCW, the petrol one, I have to start off with the bad news. These are design concepts. There are no plans to put these into production currently, although I will be doing my best to persuade Mini, because I think this car looks utterly epic. Let me walk you around a few of the design details. We'll start off with the front. I am a massive fan of spotlights on the front of Minis. I think it's the law that you should have spotlights on the front of Minis. Sadly, with the Gen 3 Mini onwards, that kind of started to disappear out of Mini design language. Not with this car. You've got this 4-light, rally-inspired light pod on the front, which I think just looks absolutely incredible. The lights themselves, you've got the 2 daytime running lights. There isn't actually a headlamp unit in here. Instead, that is now an air intake. That might cause some problems for road legality, but it looks amazing. And then the most aggressive front grille with the Deus writing behind. That looks fantastic. You've got the little John Cooper Works badge there, big front splitter. So a really aggressive front end of the car, but this light pod is absolutely mega. Wander around the side. The first thing you notice when you see this car from a distance is its track. It is so wide. It has the widest set of wheels I've ever seen on a Mini. I mean, just look at the extra arch that's had to be put on to cover up the wheels. And then the wheels themselves, from a distance, I looked at those and went, oh, look, it's got steelies on it. But they're not. They're actually alloys, but they're just made to look like steel wheels. I think that's a really nice nod back to the more kind of the classic cars of the past that just had cool steel wheels. However, my favorite thing on this car are these door mirrors. If you look at an old Cooper S race car from the past, a Swift Tune or Charlie Cooper, my mate, has one as well. They have these lovely door mirrors with this little aluminium bracket there. These have been basically made a little bit bigger because the ones on the Classic are like half the size. And I just think they are absolutely mega. They should be an option on a modern day Mini. I think there are a few issues with the pedestrian safety laws. That's probably not something you want to knock into, but look, how cool do they look? Big side sills down the side. Again, big bum on this car. Look at the arches there. Really smart. And then if you come around the back of the car, it's clearly an F66. It's got the normal lights, but two things that stand out for me. Firstly, the wing on the back, inspired by Can-Am, apparently. I love that because it's obviously pretty big and pretty garish, but nice and simple lines. It's not too complex. And then around the back, now when I first went to see the Minis racing at the N24 last year, the car that was racing was a pre-production JCW. They hadn't actually launched the JCW, and it had a single exit, very motorsport-inspired exhaust. And I remember talking to Charlie saying, that single exhaust, is that going to be on the production car? And he was a little bit tight-lipped about it. And then guess what? The production car came out and it had the single exhaust. This is taking that and turning it up to 11. You've got the single exhaust. I think one of the challenges with the F66 JCW is it has a single exhaust, but it actually has another exhaust that kind of appears around the back underneath the diffuser. None of that on this car. Instead, is the biggest diffuser I've ever seen on a modern Mini. And that makes the back of this car look absolutely epic. But if you think it's epic on the outside, let's take a look on the inside. Now, the interior of the F66 is a really cool place anyway, but what the guys have done with this is just mega. Very motorsport inspired, very hardcore. Not sure I could live with it on a daily basis, but let's talk through some of the details. Firstly, the door cards have been removed and replaced with this kind of almost like a second layer of door card with the X, which appears all over the car. There's a big X on the roof, there's an X on the door card. Even the ventilation controls now have an X on them. The steering wheel, the big fat Mini steering wheel is gone. This very simple, basic motorsport steering wheel with a red 12 o'clock stripe has replaced it. You've got these lovely carbon shifter paddles, but you can't help but notice this, a hydraulic handbrake. I know that's a bit extreme, and I know you probably wouldn't use it on the run down to the shops, but any car with a hydraulic handbrake is good in my book. The other thing, you've got the normal Mini control center here and your normal sat-nav screen where you've got all of your infotainment system. But there's a set of buttons down here, and look, you've got a little red cover and then the start button just there. That should be in every Mini because it's just a sense of occasion. I love little touches. You've got where you put your phone here with a little strap and the Deus badging just there. And then these carbon seats, they are very race inspired, very extreme. A nice, I noticed not a 4-point or a 5-point, but a 6-point racing harness. Rear seat delete, you've got a roll bar in the back and netting to put your helmet in the back on your way to a track day. And then the final thing, instead of floor mats, you've got these lovely Deus graphicked up metal floor mats. It's just mega in here. Absolutely mega. I know this is a design concept. I know many of these things are not likely to hit production, but there are little things, little bits of detail that actually I think you could see in Minis of the future. I love these little knurled controls there for the ventilation. Yeah, inside this, very, very cool. So this is the petrol one. This is the motorbike, motorsport inspired one. I reckon we go and catch some waves because they're looking a bit gnarly. I'll go and have a look at the Surf Dude one. Surf's up, dude. So we've done the kind of motorbike, motorsport inspired one. This is the surfing inspired car based on the electric JCW. Here's a question for you though. When was the last time you saw a car with naked fiberglass body panels? I know TVR and Lotus have made cars out of fiberglass, but at least they kind of polished it off and painted it. This is more like the kind of fiberglass you'd see in a kayak or on a surfboard. So there's some body panels on here made of this naked fiberglass, and it's so unusual because I've never seen it on a road car before. This big rear wing, it has nods of GP3, but it also has, I can almost see like a dolphin's tail just there, the kind of nautical links. And then the bumper is now, again, it's kind of a rough fiberglass, big diffuser. So it's a pretty bold car. As I said, remember, these are design concepts. This is a working car. You can drive it down the road. I'm not so sure how well it would drive down the road, but that's a different thing entirely. Let's wander around the side of the car. Again, big, wide track. This car, instead of having the kind of steel-looking wheels, has a more traditional alloy wheel. I really like the design. What I also quite like is these cars are very asymmetric. So this car has black wheels at the front and white wheels at the back. But if you look at the wrap on the door on this side, it's different on the other side. It looks like a crash test dummies car on the other side. You've got these big flared arches. It looks mega. When you come down, if you have a look at the roof, now you look at the roof and you think, okay, well, these are just bolted on wings and a bolted on wing at the back. This roof, it's got like a translucent, transparent, you can almost see through it. And the reason you can do that is because they literally chopped the roof off this car and replaced it with a fiberglass roof. When you look inside, you can actually see it's almost like a really dirty sunroof. It's got light coming through the roof because it's made of fiberglass. There's the big Deus Ex on the top. And then I looked at it and thought, well, if this is a surf-inspired car, surely it should have a surfboard on the roof. Well, this one doesn't at the moment, but it could do because of these elastic straps on here. You've got connections there to put a roof rack on. So if you wanted a short or long board on the roof, you can do. Come down the side. Now, I didn't point this out on the other car, but the other car had a nod to the 1959 Grand Prix win in the Cooper Climax, where the John Cooper name first became a thing in motor racing. This one is the 1960 Grand Prix. There's a little thing there, August the 14th, 1960. The distance and length, Jack Brabham winning the car in a Cooper Climax. I love that kind of nod to the motorsport heritage of this car, although it probably should have something to do with, I don't know, the big wave riding championships or something. But I love that. And then wandering around the front, again, big fiberglass fenders on the front. And then the front of this car is maybe a little bit more like the road car in that there's not a big light pod or anything on there. But what there is, because this is an EV, I don't need a big gaping radiator hole for cooling. I've got a fiberglass front end. I've got these drilled holes here, because you do need a little bit of cooling for an EV. And then you've got this daytime running light almost accent around here, really striking standout front. I think this thing looks absolutely mega. I can see it driving around, well, from the UK, maybe somewhere like Cornwall or LA on the beach. You know, you've got your baggies on and your flip-flops and your long flowing blonde locks and you're calling everyone dude and saying how gnarly things are. This is the car for you. If you think it looks cool on the outside, it's even better on the inside. Inside here, there are some familiar things. Let's cover those off first. The steering wheel, the infotainment system, and the main control panel. That's about it. So first up, the door cards, a bit like the other car, have been removed, and now you've got this naked fiberglass panel here, and then behind it is the underneath metal inner door, but with a painting and a cross on it. And there's a lot of exposed stuff in here. You get a really great view of the fiberglass roof and that kind of translucent light that's coming through it. But then all of the trim around it, there's kind of this kind of, it's not meant to be completely perfect. Even the A-pillars have got no covering on them. And I know for a road going car, that would be a challenge because you'd normally have curtain airbags in there and so on. But it just ties in with everything else. The dash, when you look at the lighter colour here on the dash, I thought it was kind of Alcantara or leather from a distance. It's not. It's fiberglass, which I love. These seats, they're pretty extreme, but the inner padding on the seats is actually neoprene from a wetsuit. Remember the surfing theme. And in the back, there's two little areas there where the seats would normally be, and there for you to put your wetsuit under when you finished your surf. There's a little barrier at the back, so you've still got the ability to use the boot, and hopefully stuff won't come flying through. And then this center console, there's just really nice touches. I know it's a design concept, but there are things in here. You've got the cross that you see everywhere. Obviously, the big one, you can see it on the roof. But again, on the little ventilation controls, you've got the cross. It's just cool in here. And I love the way that they are design concepts. There's a little nod to it's a possible thing, and I've been to see lots of prototypes and design concepts over the years that have no bearing to a road car whatsoever, that would never ever see the light of day. This is a car I could drive down the road. So there are things in here. It would be great to see if they ended up being on real Minis at some point. But it is very, very cool. I particularly love the roof. Anyway, let's jump outside and I'll give you my final thoughts. Don't worry, I am going to save you from me getting my legs out because nobody wants to see that. But my final thoughts about these two cars. Well, firstly, the surf-inspired one. I thought I'd have my surfboard with me. I love this car, and I love both of the cars for the fact that they give us inspiration. This one is maybe for me a little bit more out there, the choice of materials and so on, but it's certainly striking. I absolutely love the roof, and I think there are elements of it that are very interesting. But for me, this one, when you go to car shows, mini car shows, and you see minis that have been modified, I always find that a great source of inspiration. You see what other people have done and you think, oh, I could do that on my car. And for me, that's exactly what this car is all about, whether it's the light pod on the front or the cool door mirrors or the asymmetric wrap. I just love the fact that it's inspiring. Now, it would be amazing to think that one day these cars, in some form or another, find their way into production. I will be doing my best, but I can't promise anything. But for now, I think it's just great that brands like Mini and Deus Ex Machina work together on projects like this, pushing the boundaries, showing us what is possible, because I absolutely love both of these cars. I would love to know what you think. If you're a Mini fan, which are your favorite elements of these cars? Which bits would you look at and go, oh, I wish I had that on my car. I wish that could be something I could spec the next time I buy a new Mini. But for now, I'm going to love you and leave you. If you enjoyed that one, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. For now, you take care, drive safe or surf safe. I'll see you on the next one.